This
Okay,
conference will now be recorded.
do the roll call.
Yeah, just do the roll call, please.
Commissioner Isbell,
Present.
Commissioner Mead. Here. Commissioner Yeager.
Here.
Commissioner Denenberg,
I'm here.
and Commissioner Waddell. Okay. Under contracts approved by the law director, we have 11, 10 of which are copiers, as we were just talking about, through the statewide contract to save money for the circuit court offices, I should say. And then the other one is a lease between us, well, the Board of Education and the Tennessee Board of Regents. So I don't know if you all want to approve all these as a group or individually or partially as a group.
I'll make a motion to approve as a group 1 through 10 for the copiers.
Second. Discussion.
I just have one question. These are all through the statewide contract and they're different amounts. Just because there's various different copiers of different capacities or
Yes.
or included copies or something. Is that what the difference is? Okay.
There aren't any copies included. It's all the copy charges all get charged per copy, but it's so cheap. It's like 0.005 cents per copy. Like our office last month, I think our copy charges were like $7 for the whole month.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Isbell,
Aye.
Commissioner Mead,
Aye.
Commissioner Yeager,
Aye.
Commissioner Denenberg,
Aye.
and Commissioner Waddell. All right, so those approved. And then the other item. So the item number 11 under contracts approved by the law director is the lease between the Board of Education and the Tennessee Board of Regents. 27-month lease for the building that's used by the Tennessee College of Applied Science. Submitting for your approval.
This is the Inslee building.
Yes, sir.
So we talked about this in commission, and it's very odd. This is the building we're leasing, and we're also paying the tax on this building, the property. So I don't know. It's very odd to me that we would be leasing a building plus paying the tax on it. Normally, when you lease a building, the owner is responsible for the tax. So
it is a very unique situation because we actually own the property through a quick claim deed from Hensley while leasing it to the Tennessee Board of Regents. And Robbie, correct me if I'm getting any of this wrong because it's pretty complicated. The contract is silent to taxes. They are requesting us to pay them now, but I know that Robbie is hashing it out with Jay, and I believe the mayor's involved too, and trying to figure out if we should or should not. But they're making sure that if we do pay, then that's a proper route to go.
So are you saying we own the property?
With a reversion clause, yes. So once the Tennessee Board of Regents no longer is using it, it goes back to Hensley.
And how much rent are we paying?
We're not paying. It's sort of a wash for us.
Okay.
I remember when we did all that, and it was about where, they came in and they're going to provide the school, SL's can provide the property in the building. It was kind of like a unilateral type agreement to do all this, to be able to put the school in Anderson County.
So how much money are we out?
I think it's a wash.
Basically a break even.
Well, I'd like for someone to look at this contract and give us a little bit more information. I don't know if the mayor has, I just saw her come up on the screen. She may have more information on it.
I do not, Commissioner. This was the first time, I guess Tim Thompson had handled it in the past, and now we have a new president of ACETA, so he actually sent it to me, and then I sent it to Robbie and also Jay. And the agreement that you are voting on is actually drafted by the Tennessee Board of Regents, and they lease the facility from the Anderson County school system that holds it as a tax exempt property. And very similar, I guess, to your IDB agreements. So a lot of times, you can't forgive taxes. In order to do that, you have to use the statutes for IDB, where the IDB actually holds ownership of your facility. And for that reason, a lot of companies don't even want to do it. They don't like to ever have someone else, even though it's understood it's really theirs. But in this particular case, the state pays the Anderson County school systems, I think it's in your contract there, $68,000 or something along that line. And then I'm assuming, this is what I was talking to Robbie about, I don't know if there is another sub lease or sub agreement with the Hensleys that's between the schools and the Hensleys. I'm not really sure how that works. But I have been, Catherine's right, I have been talking to Robbie about it. And I also shot Jay an email and said maybe the three of us could get together and have a conversation about it, because if it's not in agreement somewhere, I don't know how we're able to just do that. And I do remember, I have a vague recollection, I don't know, Commissioner Waddell, if you were here, but Josh Anderson had raised the issue of the property taxes not being paid to the city of Norris. And that was one of the reasons that we partnered with them on the industrial road project with TDOT. And so the county did provide Norris some funds for that project. And I don't know if I'm mixing up the projects, but I thought that was the project. So on that particular portion, I know it went through budget committee, but I don't think Robbie is prepared to pay until we have some more answers on it. And I know he was doing that work for your full meeting on Monday. I don't know if I helped any at all. I mean, I don't really have any answers either. But to your question, then yes, the county would be paying that amount. That part is not a wash. We would be paying that amount.
So don't we need to hold off until we have some answers before we approve a contract? I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
willing, I'm not ready to go forward until I have some answers on it. I think that would be our best bet. Is this going to be an issue? I mean, does it have to be done this month?
That lease expired October, what's it, Catherine, October 1st? So, or September. So they're in that building. We're already behind on, we're in November now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and the lease agreement doesn't speak to taxes, nor does the old one.
Well, there is a payment of taxes in here. And it says it does not become a state agency, entity, or employee, and is not entitled to any rights, privileges, or immunities pertaining to the state or its agency. But it doesn't say that it's just talking about being tax exempt, but it doesn't, there's nothing in this contract that says we are to pay the tax. So,
Well, in the quit claim deed, which I didn't make y'all a copy, on the very front page says property is tax exempt. So, I mean, and it's a quick claim deed between the Board of Education and Hensley.
for me, there's too many questions for me to vote to move forward right now. But a motion to defer till next month.
We can, or if you want to take it up Monday night, if you can get the information to them.
That's fine.
Yeah, I will say this, we have paid these taxes in the past too.
Yeah, I know, but that doesn't make it right.
I know.
So
We
Catherine-
can pass a commission without recommendation. That way it can be discussed.
I'd rather,
We can get the information.
I'd rather defer it. And if you want to bring it up in new business, maybe, and I'm not really a fan of putting things to commission without a recommendation. That's what we're here for. So I'd rather just defer it, but that's my motion to defer it next month.
Okay, we got a motion for,
Second.
motion and second, discussion on the motion. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Isbell,
Aye.
Commissioner Mead,
Aye.
Commissioner Yeager,
Aye.
Commissioner Denenberg.
Aye with question.
Did you say aye with a question?
That's what I said. My question is, if it's a tax exempt property, why were taxes ever paid on it? But I'm
That's a
saying
good
aye to the,
question.
I'm saying aye to the motion.
Okay. And Commissioner Waddell. And it was Commissioner Waddell that made that motion and Commissioner Yeager second.
Passes, and I remember when all this come about, I think Dr. Parrott and Greg Deal was heavily involved in all this, so they may have some answers to the question as well.
Commissioner Meredith, I believe, too.
That's correct.
So he might be able to shed some light.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think Rick would know a lot more about it.
Dr. Parrott signed the lease.
He did.
But was there anything in the previous contract about us paying the taxes?
I think it was silent as well, except for the quick claim deed. Yeah, there was a section, but I think it said that we don't pay it. It never said that we do. I think now my memory doesn't work as well anymore.
It doesn't make sense to me. It's a tax exempt property being used by a tax exempt organization. And yet we're being required somehow to pay, the county's being required.
You know
Why
what?
does that seem right to me?
It doesn't. That's why
Well-
Robbie's question.
Well, that's when the mayor got
I
the
believe
email.
that's what my question was, Steve.
Right. Well, and when the mayor got the email about us paying these taxes, she immediately emailed me. I didn't know anything about it until I started researching it. And I did find where we had paid the taxes in the past, but not in the last 2 years. But when we started looking at I had Catherine research the lease agreements. That doesn't speak to that in those agreements. So that's why I was really leery of paying the taxes to begin. I mean,
At the end of the day, somebody's getting paid to lease a piece of property and they are not paying their taxes. We are paying.
we're reimbursing. I think Mr. Hensley is paying the taxes and we're reimbursing him.
Right, but he's getting paid to lease the property. It may not be paid by us, but someone's paying him money to use the property.
The state of Tennessee.
So the
through-
state of
through the Board of
Tennessee-
Education.
Right, so the state of Tennessee's paying him money to use his property, and then we're turning around and reimbursing him on the tax.
Right.
That's just
Also
not
in that,
right.
also in that building is the trustee and the county clerk's.
Right.
And alternate side.
And we also pay a lease there to
Yes,
him,
we do.
correct? So it's not right for us to pay the tax, so thank you.
Thank you.
May I say something, Mr. Chairman?
Right ahead, Commissioner.
I just wanted to address Commissioner Waddell's statement. It is not unusual in commercial land leases that the leaseor is responsible for taxes. It just depends on how the contracts are written. And quite frankly, if it's an exempt property, that's where the question is, why are taxes being paid on an exempt piece of property?
But again, that would have to be in the contract, which it is not. So that's my question at hand.
And that is a good question. Why wasn't it?
Okay. Contracts pending law director approval. We have another copier, and this is for the senior center, and a contract with the parks that it's the credit card company they're using. They're switching who's processing their online payments. So it's a no cost to the county contract. So I don't know if y'all want to.
Motion to approve number 1 and 2 pending law director's approval.
Have a second.
Second.
Second by
Commissioner
Commissioner Mead. Discussion.
Question? Yes. Why are we paying for a copier for the senior center?
It's not used just for the senior center place because that's obviously not open, but you still have the Office of the Aging and the people that still manage the stuff over that. So I'm assuming that's what that's about.
It's in their budget. They've actually had a copier, and that copier no longer works. So I mean, I know Leanne helped work on this, and they worked through purchasing. So they do have to have a copier there.
Is this something that we typically do pay for, Mayor?
Well, it's being paid for out of their budget.
Out of the
So,
budget? Okay.
yes, out of their individual budget. So it's not another department paying for it.
Okay.
It's actually, she had a copier in her budget before, and then this copier is no longer working. And she was hoping to even get the same kind of contract she had with the other one, but could not. So we worked with Catherine on, as you can see, everybody's moving to this Canon because it's the best deal going right now. So
Evidently. All right. Thank you for your information, ma'am.
May I speak just a moment? This is IT Brian. I do know that copier that we're putting in there should cause a net savings to her copier budget. Just wanted to add that in. I looked at the numbers and the per sheet rate that Catherine has arranged with that agreement should cause a net savings. It won't be astronomical, but it should be cheaper to operate.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you, Ms.
I have a-
Catherine.
Yeah, the Commissioner Mead here. On B2, I have a question. I'm always suspicious when it says we're getting something with no cost to the county. How do we get the service and it has no cost to the county? Is that because the company that processes it takes some part of the payment,
Correct.
but we're not having to send them extra money? So we're still returning to, so it's saying that there's no cost to the county is not really true because we're giving them part of the proceeds. So that's a cost.
They charge a fee to the customer.
The fee is charged to the customer on top of it. It's just like.
Oh, it's charged the customer.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
We have a motion and a second to approve 1 and 2 under contracts pending law director approval. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Isbell? Commissioner Mead?
Aye.
Commissioner Yeager?
Aye.
Commissioner Denenberg?
Aye.
Commissioner Waddell?
Ah,
Next, under other business, is a request to surplus a vehicle from the Board of Education's Maintenance Department. 2003 Chevy Malibu submitting for your approval.
motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Call the roll.
This thing's only 17 years old.
Call the roll, please.
Newer than 2 of our cars. Okay, Commissioner Isbell?
Aye.
Commissioner Mead?
Aye.
Commissioner Yeager?
Aye.
Commissioner Denenberg?
Aye.
And Commissioner Waddell?
Aye.
All right, under new business, the mayor emailed out a grant this afternoon that she had just received. I'm not sure if everybody had a chance to look that over.
EBG.
Some water line improvements. There is some matching funds.
yes,
Are the-
this is
are-
actually,
Are the matching funds coming out of the 2 million capital improvements, or does that come out of a different area?
no matching funds come from Anderson County. So when you all first supported the resolution that is required in order to even apply and receive a grant, what you authorized was the match was being provided by the Anderson County Water Authority.
Okay.
So that is where, if you'll look at that budget page, that's where those matching funds come from. They do not come from Anderson County government. So we're not financing it. We're the applicant, and then Randy Walters in finance will handle the grant paperwork. East Tennessee Development District is the administrator that does the inspections and that kind of work, and facilitates all of the milestones, such as the environmental submissions and that kind of thing. Last month at commission, through the process, you all approved the contractor who will do the environmental work. Yes, that came through purchasing last month and was approved by full commission. The Robert Campbell, I think Royden just sent that out last week. So no matching funds.
Thank you, Mayor.
Is this for the Hines Creek area that we'd spoke about?
Yes, sir. Yeah, this is Savage Garden, Fouts Lane, Collins Gap to Hines Creek to Judson Road, Buchanan Lane. That's going from memory.
Second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Waddell, seconded by Commissioner Yeager. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Isbell,
Aye.
Commissioner Mead,
Aye.
Commissioner Yeager, Commissioner Denenberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Waddell.
Ah,
That's all the items on our agenda.